You know, there's countless stories out there of people that hit failure over and over again. And I bring that up because that's what creates the want, the desire, the demand for something to change. That gives you a directional path. So when you're on that sailboat out at sea, you know how to take the wind coming at you into your favor, to sail in the direction you want. But you're not sailing into some harbor at a known point. No, you're gonna sail down uncharted waters. And why? Because those uncharted waters lead to undreamt shores of possibilities.
The word is inertia. And this word, the definition is a tendency to do nothing or remain unchanged. Is a property of matter by which it continues in its existing state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line unless that state is changed by external forces. So this is us. This is our lives. If we don't make an effort, if we don't apply force, we don't change. Our lives will just continue as they are. That's what we're up against. And it's not easy.
We put off everything for the future that already belongs to us. And misery holds on to few, but many hold on to misery. Our ancient Stoic friend Seneca calls us out once again with some tough love, telling us and reminding us really that everything that we resent in our daily lives, in our past, in our present, and everything that we already resent that we think is coming up in our future is really self-inflicted, self-imposed, and that we just pursue misery when we think that we're pursuing happiness.
That says when you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person that went into the storm. That is what the storm is all about. In other words, how we use this free time, right? How we use this situation, how we use this tool of adversity to become better fathers, better husbands, better mothers, better spouses, better team members. And so I have to pose the question to you, why do you really do what you do and where is it taking you? Right? What's the GPS that's on the end of your decisions and your choices every single day? Have you just made this situation about you, or have you used this situation to become a better individual in several aspects and phases of your life? Right? Like, I'm a firm believer in this, man. Like, in life, we don't burn out because of what we do. We burn out because life makes us forget why we do it. And so the question remains, right? Why do you do what you do and where does it take you? Most importantly, when it's all said and done, when the clock stops, when you come out of this situation, I firmly believe it's about two things. It's about who you become, and it's about what you give. And every single day, you can become somebody better, but most importantly, you can give something greater to this situation and to this thing called life.
When I was 10 years old, Pop said to me, son, it's a truly lucky man who knows what he wants to do in this world, because that man will never work a day in his life. But there are a few, a precious few, and hell, I don't know if they're lucky or not, but there are a few people who find something they have to do. Something obsesses them. Something, if they can't do it, it's gonna drive them clean out of their mind.
Fight. Fight, man. I know it's getting hard. I know it feels like you're losing. And the overwhelming fear of failure is creeping up on you. But you must remember one thing. You've been here before. You fought much tougher battles than this. And yet here you are, still standing. All the odds were against you, but it didn't matter. You found the fighting spirit within you to keep going no matter what. Nothing can beat that. Nothing.
It takes effort because nature doesn't want to change. It just wants to keep going in that same path that it's been going on. Your nature, my nature, doesn't want to change. It would rather just kind of conserve energy and just continue doing what it's doing. We would rather continue doing what we're doing. just that easy path, let things stay the same, just keep doing what we're doing, that's what we have to fight against. Because if we don't take action, if you don't take action, then nothing's going to change.
When the anxious mind consumes you, do everything you possibly can to stick to the to-do list. When life becomes more overwhelming than ever, even the smallest tasks feel like the largest mountain to climb. But care for yourself by maintaining that baseline. I've been keeping my promises for a very long time, and I'm still not immune to feeling like keeping them another day is daunting. But that said, when I feel like I've lost something, the last thing I want to do in response to that is lose myself.
If you have lost friends during the process of the climb, I don't think it is something that you should lament or be upset about. I think that it is a sign of growth, because a lot of people say, hey, you've changed. And the only natural response that I can have to that is, if you grow, you change. Some people, most people, don't like change, especially if they themselves have not grown or changed, and or if they have grown in a different direction from you. And it is natural for us to not want to continue relationships with people that have grown or have values that are too far in contrast to our own. I would be far more sad that I had not realized my potential or what I hope to accomplish in my life in exchange for relationships that I sacrificed my dreams in order to maintain.
For what it's worth, it's never too late, or in my case,
too early. To be whoever you want to be. There's no time limit. Start whenever you want. You can change or stay the same. There are no rules to this thing. We can make the best or the worst of it. I hope you make the best of it. I hope you see things that startle you. I hope you feel things you never felt before. I hope you meet people with a different point of view. I hope you live a life you're proud of. And if you find that you're not, I hope you have the strength to start all over again.
Loss and regret, two things that touch all of us sooner or later. They come into our lives like uninvited guests, leaving us breathless and broken. Maybe it's the loss of someone you love deeply. Maybe it's the regret of something you didn't do, the words you didn't say, the chances you didn't take. Whatever it is, it lingers. It hangs over you, heavy and unrelenting, like a shadow you can't escape. You try to move on, to push it to the back of your mind, but it's always there. A memory, a what if, a feeling you can't quite put into words. And it's tempting, isn't it? To let it consume you, to let it define you, to tell yourself, this is it, this is who I am now. A person marked by loss, a person drowning in regret. But let me tell you something, loss and regret don't have to define you. They can shape you, yes, but they don't have to break you. And as long as you're still here, as long as you're still breathing, there's a way forward. You see, loss and regret are a part of life. They're inescapable. No one gets through this life untouched by them. But here's the thing. It's not the loss or the regret that destroys us. It's how we respond to them. It's whether we let them become our story, or whether we choose to write a new one. Let's talk about loss. When you lose someone or something that mattered to you, it feels like the world has shifted beneath your feet, like nothing will ever be the same again. And the truth is, it won't be. Loss changes you. It leaves a mark. But that mark, it's not a scar. It's a testament.
Are you interested in achieving these goals? or are you committed? And that question transformed my life. If you're interested, you'll do what's convenient. You'll come up with stories and excuses and reasons why you can't, but if you're committed, you will do whatever it takes. You'll let go of your stories. You'll let go of your excuses. You'll let go of all the reasons you currently have that are formulating your identity of yourself. And you'll learn how to let that go and become who you are destined to become.
You have to travel light if you want to go high. You've got to give up to go up. That's what this law is all about. Less is more. This law teaches us that there is no reward without paying a price. Pay now, play later. If you play now, you'll pay later. What he taught me was invaluable. That was the root of the law of sacrifice. If you give up, you could certainly go up.
Life is giving you a new opportunity. Sometimes it's good to take it. And when this lifetime takes something from you, you need to learn to let go.
So you need to foster the belief in what you are dreaming so that it becomes a reality, which is very different than saying, I don't expect anybody to believe it until I see it. You need people to believe it before they can see it.
Your imagination is there. Don't you remember when you were a child? You believed everything that you thought. You believed everything that your imagination could draw up. But then people told you to be realistic. People told you to come back to reality. People told you what you can and cannot do. And as a young, innocent child, that you can only do so much. It's time to stop believing those lies.
You wake up every single morning and you have a choice. You can choose to do the thing that you did yesterday that got you closer to your goal, or you can choose to do something else. That's your choice. So if you're asking me how to stay consistent, you just have to choose to do the thing you did yesterday that got you closer to your goals. The reason you don't stay consistent is because you make the wrong choice. There's no hack, there's no secret, there's no motivational video that's going to make it so you make the right choice.
When you have nothing left, and you feel like emptiness is the only thing that you know, it's very easy to fall into hopelessness. But have you ever thought that maybe you have to be emptied of what was so that you can be refilled with what's to be? Maybe this emptiness is what you've been asking for in its infancy. So maybe you're empty on purpose.
Find something. Find a thing that you genuinely enjoy, because getting good at things you genuinely enjoy is extremely beneficial.
The less you challenge yourself, the less you grow. You can't run from discomfort because you think you can't overcome it. Put yourself in situations that force you to improve, build new habits, and destroy the bad ones. In order to feel fulfilled in this life, you always need a dragon to slay. So set a goal, choose your own adventure, and embrace the challenge.
Your excuses will destroy you and take everything that you ever wanted from you, if you let them. When your excuses make you feel a little bit better about the fact that you didn't execute on what you needed to execute on, then they can make you feel better. But they're not helping you. They're not helping you at all.
You see, what stands between us and achieving even our most ambitious dreams has far less to do with possessing some magical skill or talent, and far more to do with how we approach problems and make decisions to solve them.
You're living on frequencies. Now, when you think of something, what you've done is you've flipped your brain onto a higher frequency. The very fact you can see it is all the proof you need to know you could get it. What you have to do is raise your level of consciousness to that frequency, and then you will attract whatever's on that frequency. All the good you need to manifest the idea. Any idea that's held in the mind, that's emphasized, that's either feared or revered, so it could be bad or good, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. It starts to move into form.
The way that I see it, given that we don't know the future, given that much of our motivations are invisible to us, we're not a crystal pond that we can see into, you have to have some form of delusion about what's going to happen in the future. You're trying your best to see the way that it's going to be, but given that the glass could be half empty or half full, why not have a delusion that's going to be useful to you? One of hope, even in the face and the understanding that things might be difficult and that there's going to be obstacles.
Even when I do not feel like doing something, just to do it. That my brain doesn't dictate how. My brain does not get to choose. My brain can feel a certain way, but it's not going to choose how I behave all the time. I just can't let it do it anymore. I'm going to have setbacks, I know. But if I'm feeling bad, that doesn't mean I'm doing bad. That doesn't mean I am bad. That doesn't mean that I can't still take some action.
Leonardo da Vinci famously said, "God will sell you anything at the price of labor." And that is true. So what you have to do is, if you want something, you have to work for it. And most people that think that the world is based off of luck have never truly worked for something. Not enough to understand that luck does not exist. It's merely a game of probabilities. You work hard, you work more, you work longer, and eventually you can increase your odds of success. And you have to increase your probabilities by increasing your skill set.
Do it sad, do it angry, do it heartbroken, do it miserable, do it excited, do it energized, do it happy, do it tired, do it confident, do it discouraged. Do it anyway. However you got to get it done, make sure it gets done. That's what separates the winners from the losers. That's what separates those that get what they want from those that only talk about what they want. So whatever you got to do, get it done.
We've all heard it. It's always darkest before the dawn. You have to push through the hard to get to the place you're trying to get to.
You have to understand you are on your own unique journey, and your truth is going to be unique to you. So as you go down that journey of trying to be authentically who you were made to be and find your truth, there's going to be so many people that do not agree or do not align with that path.
Here's what I know. I know that until you make a decision that you no longer want to feel how you feel, or you no longer want to think the way that you think, or you no longer want to have the kind of results or no results that you have, until you make that decision that, you know what? I know I don't feel great. I know I doubt myself. I know I've had a lot of bad things happen. I know there's a lot that I regret, but damn it, you've got to start with wanting something better for yourself. And then I personally think the most important thing is to start acting like the person who has the things that you want right now, even though you don't feel like it.
The reason why a lot of people won't become who they want is because they're too attached to who they've been. So I was willing to let go of everything and everybody. See, another reason why people won't get there is because the doorway is for you to fit through. You're trying to carry everybody else through because you're trying to be Rescue 911. And you got to rescue you first.
You're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. But during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place. That's where the work is.
You may have a lack of confidence because you just haven't been showing up for yourself. Your words have no meaning. We don't have to stay in the past. We don't even have to go too far into the future in our mind. We come back to this present moment and we say, you know what, my presence is perfection and my presence has purpose. And yeah, I haven't been showing up for myself. Yeah, there's been a lack of accountability. But you know what? I have another step. I have another breath. And in this next step and then this next breath, I make change.
The quote goes like this: one day, day one. One day, or day one.
How do you know what you're used to
is better than the life that's to come. When life starts changing, when life starts moving, when things start evolving, when people start changing, when you start growing, oftentimes if we've had a set of great experiences in our past, when it says, how do you know the life that you're used to is better than the life that's to come? And so when you think about the life that's to come, new normal, right? A transition, having to pivot, having to make different decisions, having to make a new career choice, having to close the door and a chapter on another career. How do you know the life that you're used to is better than the life that's to come, right? Embrace it. It goes together. One is glorious, one is wretched, right? It goes together, man.
And when you feel the highest pressure, the highest stress, and the highest anxiety, when you're in the pursuit of something greater, it's a good indication that you're actually on the right path. It's a position that you want to actually be in, because once you push through this time of extreme stress, pressure, and anxiety, on the other side is the promised land that you've been looking for.
The biggest mistake a person can do right now, no matter in which situation you are, is to give up. You might not reach the best version of yourself in this lifetime, but a better one than you are right now.
Have got to decide what it is that you want the future to look like. And the more specific and the more clear you are, the more likely it's going to happen. The more you understand of what that moment is that you're trying to create and why you're trying to create it, and then you now can build the plan and the strategy to get there. Now you look at that end and the result and what you want it to be and how you're going to feel and what it's going to mean to you, and you just keep visualizing yourself there the entire step of the way. The entire step of the way. And it is going to eventually reveal itself, all the things that you need to do in order to get there.
Self-confidence is self-trust, and self-confidence is the process of keeping the promises that you make to yourself. So the way we begin to build our self-confidence up is we start setting promises up with ourselves that we keep. You need to begin to make promises to yourself, set up the game early where you can keep them, stack that stuff and create momentum. And what happens is you will begin to build a reputation with yourself that you can trust you.
What does it mean to live an infinite life? Clearly our lives are finite. We're born, we die, we come, we go. But life is infinite. The game of life will continue with us or without us. Which means every single one of us has a choice. We don't get to choose the nature of the game. Life is infinite. We don't even get to choose if we want to play in the game or not. Once you're born, you're in it. We get one choice. Do you want to play with a finite mindset, or do you want to play with an infinite mindset? To play with a finite mindset means waking up every day and say, I'm going to be the best, I'm going to be better than everybody else. And when you die, you take none of it with you. Or we can choose to live our lives with an infinite mindset, which means I'm going to leave this world in better shape than I found it. It means I'm going to devote my life to see that those around me rise. And we know that we're living with an infinite mindset because our obsession is seeing that we have an impact on the lives of the people around us.
regret, that's a different kind of pain. It's not about what you've lost. It's about what you didn't do. It's about the chances you didn't take, the opportunities you missed, the words you wish you could go back and say. And regret has a way of eating at you, of whispering in your ear, you should have done more. You should have been better. You should have known. But here's the truth about regret. It's a teacher. It's not here to punish you. It's here to guide you. Regret shows you where you went wrong, not to torment you, but to help you do better next time, to help you grow, to help you make sure that the next time you're faced with a choice, you don't hesitate. You don't let fear hold you back. You don't let life pass you by. The key to overcoming regret isn't to forget it. It's to learn from it, to use it as fuel to become a better version of yourself, to look at the things you wish you'd done differently and ask yourself, what can I do today to make sure I don't feel this way tomorrow? Regret can be a weight, or it can be a spark. The choice is yours. But here's where loss and regret meet. They both remind us of how fleeting life is, how quickly things can change, how easily time can slip away. And that reminder, it's a gift. Because when you faced loss, when you felt regret, you know how precious this life is. You know how important it is to hold on to the people and moments that matter. You know how vital it is to live fully, to love deeply, to leave nothing unsaid. The way forward isn't to pretend the pain isn't there. It's not to push it down or try to outrun it. The way forward is to face it, to sit with it, to let it teach you what it's here to teach. And then, when you're ready, to take a step forward. Not because the pain is gone. It may never fully leave, but because you've decided that it's not going to control you. Healing isn't about forgetting. It's about integrating. It's about taking the lessons from your loss, from your regret, and letting them become a part of who you are. It's about using that pain to build something new, something stronger, something meaningful. And if you're wondering how to take that first step, let me tell you this. Start small. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have all the answers. Just take one step. Maybe it's reaching out to someone you care about and telling them what they mean to you. Maybe it's taking a chance on something you've been afraid to do. Maybe it's simply getting out of bed in the morning and deciding that today you're going to try. Because that's all you can do. Try. And as long as you're trying, as long as you're moving, you're not stuck. You're not defeated. You're not defined by your loss or your regret. You're defined by what you do next. And what you do next, that's up to you.
You need to understand that for 90% of the journey, you will not see the port. But you can trust that if you do the right actions, you'll eventually get there. And it's the same thing with life. You must understand that most of the time you won't see the fruit of your labor for an extended period of time. But then, once you hit the 99%, you begin to see the port of destination, the port of arrival. And then you catch the second wind to maximize on the momentum. For 99% of the journey, where most of you guys are at right now, you will not see the port of destination, but you must trust it.
But what if things work out and everything turns out better than you imagined? What if things change? Life has a funny way of unfolding sometimes. So don't give up. Wake up every single day knowing that you're one step away from success. Anything is possible if you're willing to work for it. Just stick with it a little longer. What do you have to lose?
Study yourself, make yourself better. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Learn from them. Don't change who you are to become somebody else. Think about the time that you spend in your life trying to be somebody you're not. If you put that time and effort and energy into being who you were and who you are, how much farther along would you be in life?
6 months. You got 6 months left in the year. Why don't you take those 6 months and donate that time to your future self? Why don't you commit to something that you're going to thank yourself for doing 6 months from today? Because when January 1st rolls around, you can either be 6 months closer to your goals, or you can be exactly where you are right now, if not a little further away. You can either get to January 1st and be so pissed off about what you did the previous 6 months that you feel like you have to change your whole personality with a whole list of resolutions, or you can get to January 1st and have things be going so well that you feel like you don't have to change anything at all.
Consistency compounds. When consistency compounds, you get a good life. Many times people want to rush, they want to accelerate the journey, but they don't understand that the journey is lifelong. There is no end goal, there is no end destination. You are in this journey from the moment you were born until you die. So today is just another brick that you're laying to build your ideal house.
What's that deep-rooted reason? So when fear shows up, when failure shows up, when haters show up, when the numbers ain't going right show up, what's gonna keep you committed? What's gonna keep you consistent? You've been consistent in a lot of stuff in life. Are you trying to say that you can't be consistent at something that you love? You can't be consistent at your dreams? You can't be consistent at something that means the world to you? You've been consistent at the wrong things. You've been consistent at pleasing people. You've been consistent at working for somebody else. And you're telling me you can't bring that same energy to what you called to do? Come on.
I'm gonna tell you this, bro. There is no getting out of the work. There's no shortcuts. There is no easy route. And there is no quick fix to becoming the greatest version of yourself. The longer that you avoid the hard work, the more comfortable you get in life. Is stay comfortable in the depression, stay comfortable in the situation that you're in right now. Because when you're comfortable, you lose motivation, you lose focus, you lose sight of your goals, you lose sight of where you want to be at in life.
You have the ability to make those changes. There is no difference between you and successful people. The difference is what they do. Your life is created by what you do, your daily habits. Your daily habits determine what your life is going to look like. Who you surround yourself with determines what your life is going to look like.
If tomorrow wasn't promised, what would you give for today? Forget everything else. Forget everything else. Forget that there was any sunlight left. What would you spend today thinking about? We get one opportunity in life, one chance in life to do whatever you're gonna do, to lay your foundation, to make whatever mark you're gonna make, whatever legacy you're gonna leave your legacy. And it's found through effort. Wins and losses come a dime a dozen. But effort, nobody can judge effort. Because effort is between you and you. Effort ain't got nothing to do with nobody else.
Pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Go for the discipline because it weighs ounces. The regret weighs tons.
95% of our decisions are made by how you feel in the moment. And that is the problem. Do you feel like making that cold call? No, you don't. Do you feel like doing that third set of reps? No, you don't. And if you accept the fact that you may never feel ready and you may never feel motivated and you may never feel courageous, and that's okay, but you can still push yourself forward. As you start to see yourself becoming the person that takes action, guess what happens? You build the skill of confidence and courage.
You think that everything the mind tells you, I need to follow. That means freedom. No. For us, it's the other way around. To learn and not follow what the mind tells you. This is the first step towards freedom.
You have to constantly rewrite your book every day of your life. These are conversations I have with myself, and I say it everywhere I go. The most important conversation when you have with yourself. You live with it every single day. But most of our conversations are not the right ones. They're not the ones that are going to push us to the place we need to go. They're the ones that are going to keep us sitting in that toxic environment that you've helped create and everybody else helped create, and you just live in it. And that conversation just plays in your head, and that becomes you.
Working on yourself, talking to yourself, that's so very important. Overcoming the negative conversation, that inner dialogue that's going on all the time, even when you don't want it to be there. You can't stop yourself right now from thinking. You can't do it. It's going on. And so learning how to empower yourself, part of doing that is standing up to yourself. You'll get scared sometimes. Your mind will go blank on you. Some people you will allow to unnerve you. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? I'm not crazy. That's why you've got to learn to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to stand up inside yourself. Working on yourself, watching that inner dialogue, it will determine the quality of your life.